So I want to talk about Star Trek for a minute. If most of you follow me, you know that I'm a Trekkie, hardcore. And I want to take a minute to talk about Deep Space Nine because they're actually doing like a documentary and revival. So here's what I have to say about Deep Space Nine. It is a little different because it's a Star Trek that takes place on a space station by a wormhole instead of on a starship, and that is a little difficult sometimes because you don't have quite that encounter factor where you get to meet with Borgs and other creatures. There are some unexpected alien contacts, but that's mostly having to do with like the wormhole aliens and then the creepy aliens across the wormhole that want to take over the universe, all the clone people. You know, what I like about Deep Space Nine is it has a really complex storyline that has a lot to do with time and how people perceive time. One of my favorite parts of the series is when Sisko realizes that time isn't linear because he's been living in a moment in the past. And by letting go of the past, he's able to let go and move on a little bit with the future, even if he still hates Jean-Luc Picard, which is not justified. Anyway, if the series were to have gone on, honestly, Sisko ascends and becomes one of the wormhole aliens, or a prophet, or whatever. And so you can't really have the show focus on him anymore. But you know what the constant at Deep Space Nine is? It's not the Federation, or the Bajorans, or any of these aliens trying to take over. It's Quark. Quark's Bar. I have always wanted a Star Trek series about Quark and Quark's Bar because Quark is arguably the most intelligent Ferengi. Everybody says so. And plus, he actually has a sense of humor. And what's interesting about the Ferengi is they're not aligned really in that like chaotic good, lawful good. They are like straight up neutral and are really interested in business more than anything else. And some of my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine were the ones where Quark got himself into trouble and had to work really hard to get himself out just to end up back at even where he started. But with no risk, there's no reward. So I have to recommend Deep Space Nine. It's such a good series. If you like Star Trek, it is another one of those excellent Star Trek series, even if Gene Roddenberry, rest his soul, was unable to participate because he had already passed away. But Deep Space Nine, like all Star Treks, was a leap forward. You know, we had our first black male protagonist. We even got some other like spunky female characters like Kira, and who I got to see at Gays in Space in San Francisco, by the way, and was fantastic. And also the idea of like this life-hopping alien in the form of Dax. And I love the Dax character, was one of my favorites. So, if you have the time, it's on Netflix. Power watch Deep Space Nine. You can watch the whole thing in like a week if you're me, or a month. But the point is that it's there, and the best part is you don't have to wait in between episodes. Unlike Star Trek The Next Generation, which was primarily episodic, and you could watch any episode of Star Trek and not need to worry about some overarching plot, Deep Space Nine was one of the first Star Treks that I felt really had an overarching plot from beginning to end. Sisko's told that he's this Bajoran wormhole alien prophet, and then he has this arc of becoming the prophet that he was told he was going to be. And his struggle with that, and his feelings about being human and the Federation and where his allegiances really lie. And so it's a really interesting story about Sisko. But I'm holding out for Star Trek Quark.